Hello and welcome to the Little Blue Pot. It's Jem here. Thank you for joining me YouTube. I hope you are well. And thank you for clicking on food and mood. So how mood affects food and food affects mood. If we have poor choices in our eating habits, a bad sort of eating routine, this can contribute to mood swings and even intensify depression. So by choosing healthier foods, having a better eating routine, a better eating habits, it could even help us to steady our moods and maybe decrease the feelings of depression. Easier said than done, right? So when we have depression, our appetite can be affected in two ways. We either have a decrease in appetite, making us not want to eat that much or not at all, or we can have an increase in appetite and make us want to eat more, meaning that we may put on weight and make us even more depressed. Both of these aren't good, but it's a very, very common sign of depression. So if you are experiencing any of those, it could mean that you are suffering from a low mood and maybe sort of showing signs of depression. Not always, but there could be other things going on in your life. Don't go on a sidetrack. So if we have a low mood, we're less likely to maybe look after ourselves because we might dislike ourselves, and therefore we're less likely to prepare healthy foods and more likely to kind of, like I say, not eat too much or even kind of binge on unhealthy foods. There are specific foods that can affect our brain chemicals and also mean that our blood sugar levels are stable. So I'm going to be talking about those now. And it's important to think about where your cycle of eating is, because one thing can lead to another. I'm going to go talk about this in a minute. But if you are kind of going through this vicious cycle of, oh, I'm not doing this, therefore I'm going to do this, therefore that's going to make me feel like this, it can really make you feel even more depressed. So what are the good foods to eat? How can we eat ourselves happier? Stay there, paper. Sorry about my papers, as always. Don't do it. There we go. So making small steps, and what have I always said? Small steps in your eating habits can really, really affect your overall mental health, your overall physical health, and can even lift your mood. So eating regular meals, people, and eating breakfast. Now, I'm pretty good with eating breakfast because I've heard over the many years that it gets your metabolism going and can, help stabilize those food cravings. So I don't tend to get to like 11 o'clock and go, I need some food. If you haven't eaten since the night before, you're going to be really hungry. This could make you feel a bit faint, a bit dizzy, and you're more likely to go for something sugary to boost yourself. So maybe chocolate or some sort of carbohydrates that have sugars in them. Then this could mean that you'll then get the real sugar high and then the sugar crash, meaning you want to eat more sugary foods or drink more caffeine to lift yourself up. So we want to make sure that we boost the metabolism by eating regular, healthy meals and snacks to keep our levels going. So they say between 5 and 6 sort of small meals a day, not 5 or 6 massive meals and huge snacks, but to keep that metabolism going so we're less likely to reach for sugary foods to get that energy boost. So I'm talking breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner, and late evening snack. And I'm not talking about eating a snack and then going straight to sleep, because this could affect your sleep, but maybe sort of something an hour and a half before you go to bed, because they say that actually some carbohydrates can actually help, complex carbohydrates can help you sleep. Maybe you could try doing a sort of food plan, go online, look at some of these, the things I'm going to be talking about, the different foods in a minute, that maybe you can incorporate into your life whilst decreasing some of the less healthier foods. I'm not going to say bad foods because that puts negative connotation. I've already said that, and we shouldn't say bad because then we'll beat ourselves up and guilty if we eat it. We can all have a cheat day sometimes, and we can all, if we want some sugar sometimes, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'd say if you're having a lot of sugar during the day, this can mess up your blood sugar levels and your energy levels. So maybe put a meal plan for 1 week, but I would say take small steps, incorporate little bits, take away little bits, and gradually build up until you've got a new habit established. So what are the foods I'm talking about? What can make our mood? What can affect our mood? Well, tryptophan, I've only heard of this today. I've heard of amino acids, but I've never heard of tryptophan. Let me know if you have. So it's essential for the production of serotonin. Serotonin, we need you to make us feel good. It makes us feel happier and regulates our mood. So what can we find amino acids in? Poultry, oily fish, beans, baked potatoes, nuts and seeds. So if you're a vegan, you can have the nuts, seeds, beans, baked potatoes. And if you're a meat fish eater, you can have the poultry and oily fish, or you can have a mixture of everything depending on your sort of diet and what you eat. Carbohydrates, vitamins and minerals are also important. We don't want to cut out anything. Yes, we can cut out the sort of more simple carbohydrates. I'm not going to go into those today because I want to talk more about complex carbohydrates, because basically they're the I'm going to say good then. They're the healthier carbohydrates to have. And again, this helps help to uptake the serotonin in the brain. So we've talked about SSRIs. They sort of prevent the reabsorption of the serotonin into your brain. So these healthy foods, these healthy whole foods rich in protein, can actually work in the same way as the SSRIs, making that serotonin not be absorbed so we can feel much better. So when I'm talking about snacks, I'm not talking about crisps and chocolate, although I know they're very, very easy to go through, and my crisps and cheese are my favourite snacks. Not saying you can never have crisps, but if you're having 1 or 2 packets a day, sometimes I used to, then that's not going to be great for you. So ideal for snacks, handful of nuts and seeds. I'm not talking a massive handful, but maybe the size of your palm. Peanut butter and wholemeal bread, fruits and seeds or yogurt. So that could be your snacks that you have during the day. Maybe you have some pumpkin seeds for your mid-morning snack, then maybe a yogurt with some fruit for your afternoon snack, and then for dinner, after dinner you could maybe have some wholemeal bread. I like the seeded bread because you're getting your seeds and nuts in there, seeds in there again. And when I'm talking about nuts, unfortunately, I love roasted nuts. I love roasted seeds. I love putting pumpkin seeds in the oven and sprinkling them on a salad. They've got a real nice roasted flavour to them, but that's not getting all the nutrition. They taste better. No, they don't taste. They do taste a bit better to me, but if you're having roasted salted nuts, that is kind of defeating the purpose of having those healthy snacks. Healthy complex carbs. I started on this, but let's sort of talk about what food actually contains these. So this could be your late night snack, because as I said before, these complex carbs can actually maybe aid a better sleep. So if you suffer from insomnia, this could be really useful. So green vegetables, whole grain foods such as oatmeal, pasta, and I'd say wholemeal pasta here, because it's just got a bit more of the whole foods in it, and whole grain breads. Starchy veg such as potatoes, sweet potatoes, corn, pumpkin seeds, and then beans, lentils and peas. Now if you're going on sort of like a crash diet, they'll say no potatoes, they'll say no nuts and seeds, they might even say they probably won't say green vegetables, but they may say other things that actually are good for you, but you end up replacing them with kind of low fat but high sugar stuff. So think about those sort of things and how you can incorporate them. Remember, small steps. Check out my setting goals video for that, because it might help you to implement these changes. Adequate balance and consumption of omega-6 and 3 oils. So this is also good for general mental health, physical health, not just for people with mental illness, but it can help us all have a better mood. So what vegetable oils? And I'm not talking about vegetable oil, that doesn't count. I'm talking about soybean oil, safflower, corn, sunflower, flax and walnut. I personally love walnut oil. It's absolutely delicious. Omega-3, that can be found in flaxseed, hemp, pumpkin seeds, I love them, walnuts and oily or cold water fish. Now personally I don't eat fish as a vegetarian, so I would eat the flaxseed, the pumpkin seeds, again not roasted, although they do taste good, but I've got a packet downstairs and they're a really, really nice snack. So those are some of the foods that can really help to lift our mood. Check out the description in the below. Check out in the description. And I just want to talk about this cycle. So when we're talking about dieting, it sometimes makes the body kind of think, oh, I can't have that, I can't have that, I can't have that, making us feel that guilty if we eat those bad foods. Now when I've done crash diets, I mean I've done pretty much as many as you can think of. Weight Watchers, Slimming World. There are other ones available, I'm just doing the ones I've said. Weight Watchers, Slimming World, Slim Fast. I've even done a diet called Exanti, which was meal replacements with you'd have like milkshakes and soups and things like that. To be honest, everything had the same underlying taste and it was really horrible. And I lost about 12 pounds in 3 weeks, but as soon as I stopped it, I put it back on, like I have done with all of these diets. And what can happen is, we've got these bad foods that we can't have, and that's a good food and a bad food, and our body almost says, oh, I'm going on a diet, so I'm going to retain as much stuff as I can. And then we go into this cycle. So we'll kind of say, oh, I've had a bad day, so therefore I need to a bad day because I've eaten this and this. Now actually this has triggered my eating disorders whenever I've done those crash diets, which is why I don't do them anymore. Don't get me wrong, they work for some people, but not for everyone. And for me, it triggered my bulimia. And this is why I haven't been on them for quite a couple of years, because, like I say, I would have a bad food, which you can have every now and then, it's moderation. But if we're focusing on those good foods, we're likely to lift our mood, and then we're likely to go and reach for those other foods that give us that sugar, that dopamine, because we're having a more balanced mood. So I'm going to show you the cycle. Yeah, so can trigger eating disorders. If it's something that maybe you've experienced, please share that in the space below. So this is where we can possibly go to in our cycle. Once again, beautiful, beautiful picture. So we go into this self-denial and obsessive dieting. Oh, I must lose weight. I'm this. I'm too fat. I'm da, 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 all of that kind of stuff. And then we become so obsessed with it that if we make a mistake, if we do something wrong, we will beat ourselves up. This can then lead to a low mood, depression, worry, anxiety, all of those horrible things, because our serotonin levels are lower, which means we could then go into binge eating, comfort eating, or even kind of starving ourselves and thinking, well, I had a really bad day yesterday, so I'm going to starve myself. And then we feel guilty, upset, self-hate. Our mood goes down even more. So then we're going into the self-denial. Yeah, I can do it. I'm going to go on a diet, and then obsessive dieting, and then it goes round in this circle. Does this look familiar to you? Gosh, it really looked familiar to me. Have a think about that. Are you going towards that? Have a think about all those foods that I talked about, and try and do something that works for you. Small steps, incorporating the healthy foods as you go. And if you want to have a piece of chocolate, if you want to have some crisps, if you want to have some fatty foods and and other carbs, that's fine. It's just moderation. Maybe have a day a week where you treat yourself. Don't cut out all things. I think cutting out anything in your diet, such as carbs, doing like the Atkins, I think I've done that as well. And cutting out food, people who are just having like liquid diets with the cayenne pepper and things like that, again, has a lot of like results. It shows results. But when you stop doing that, you then put on weight, then you're more likely to go and binge or start starving yourself. We don't want that. We want to have a balanced diet. I'm going to really try this. I've been doing a lot of research on this. Please check out Charlotte Church's documentary on the BBC about the brain and mental illness. She talks about lots of foods as well that are really good. Check that out. I'll put the link in the description. Please let me know how you get on with your food and mood. Do you notice that when you eat more sort of rubbishy, chocolatey, sugary things, don't get me wrong, we all love them, and it's not realistic to cut them all out, but share with me your experience. Have you gone into this cycle? Do you live in this cycle? If so, we need to break this cycle by incorporating healthy foods to give us an overall better mental health, mental well-being, and physical well-being. Please share with me any comments you have in the space below. It's always good to hear from you. Please tell me about your food and mood and food, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Happy eating, guys. Bye now.